How to choose an erection product that lasts longer and is stronger. We spoke with a urologist to compare the most popular and potency remedies. We choose the most reliable, safe, and affordable option. So, reading this just reminds me that when you're making your advertorials, your goal is to make your advertorial kind of like an actual article, like an editorial, where when someone reads it, they're thinking it's an article, right? Not an advertorial. You don't want to copy other advertorials blindly. You want to make sure that you have like the general concepts, right? The structuring and everything. But at the end of the day, right, you want to give these guys value, and then you want to present them your product as a solution. So this question right here, how to choose an erection product that lasts longer and is stronger, this is more of like an informative page. And if you're looking for a product like this is obviously going to get some curiosity in your mind, right? We spoke with the urologist to compare the most popular potency remedies. So you're seeing like, okay, these guys have done the research, and then they're just going to look at the data that you present, right? So there's this urologist right here. This woman has become the most sought after urologist in her region. And now people from all over the country consult her. I'll be a lot more specific. I would say like this woman has become the most sought after urologist in, let's say, Romania or wherever country it is. Despite her young age, she already surpassed the doctors. Our reporter managed to convince Marie Lenore to find a gap in her busy schedule to talk about an important and hot topic. Journalist, good afternoon. Okay, so this is a little bit different from the typical story advertorial, where they're going through a little interview. I don't see this too often, but there are advertorials exactly like this, where it's like an interview with someone, and then they go through the interview. So, Dr. Ali Media, good afternoon. First of all, is okay. Yes, younger men. I would kind of fix up the copy. This sounds a bit scripted. They have. That's why I gladly accept this interview. More men know about effective men, but they need to have it firstly for their health, right? Okay, so basically they're like, yes, you really need to do this, right, for your health. And they're kind of instilling fear. If you don't fix your problem, right, then your aging will accelerate, diseases will develop, and your body will deteriorate. Okay, that's pretty good. They're ashamed, they hide their eyes, they haven't done that in years or more. I don't think guys would admit this. I would probably do research. It seems like they probably need to do some research. You know, what these guys are talking about. I don't know. I mean, I didn't research this niche, but I'm sure research would help these guys. Many of them were over 60 and 70, no longer remember it is. Yes. Vigor, new, brilliant, and fulfilling life. They transform 10 years younger. Okay. Very harmful at 34, 50. So they're double downing on the harmful of not doing it, right? Normal prostate, prostasis, prostate adenoma. Okay, so they're educating them about this, which just looking at the diagram is like, if you think this is what's going on, it just is uncomfortable. But that's what you need to do to kind of make them realize, oh, this is really what's happening to me, and then get them to question, how can I fix this, right? And your solution is right there as the solver, right? Erection, external factors, B deficiency, the veins, the lack of erection. Pills, I wouldn't call all of them useless. Which ones work and which ones are useless? Okay, that's actually pretty decent. They straight up mention which ones are useless because that's common in this kind of thing, right? These pills, these erection pills, a lot of them are useless. I wouldn't call any of them useless. To a greater or lesser degree, each remedy has its own effect. So this is really important. They're kind of flipping the script. They're not saying, oh, there's a bunch that are useless and ours are good. They're saying some of them have different kind of effects and it's not used correctly. Duration and effect, safety averse. Viagra is the most famous enhancer. So we're talking about alternatives here. Is only effective for arousal. Okay, that is a bunch of points. Expensive, suitable for occasional use. An effective tablet. These tablets are not effective. I would actually have a chart here that makes it a lot easier to understand. So you can have like different columns like Viagra and then a tablet and then vardenafil, like the ingredients or whatever, and then you can just have like, you know, the benefits and the downsides and everything. And then looks like they say this final one, which is their product. This is the undisputed leader in our ranking. Exerol is relatively recent development, but has already broken every record in terms of effectiveness. Yeah, I mean, you can have a chart here with these three options, not including this, and then you can literally just say, have like check marks and X's to what they do, and then most of them be X's, and then you can just introduce your product right here, and it says it checks all the boxes. 70s and 80s. Exerol is based on the renowned Tibetan cordyceps mushroom. I would probably put like an image of the mushroom. I would, like, if you could, it would be really effective if you can have like a GIF or a mini video that just shows what this does. So you don't necessarily have to have the product in the video, just that area like kind of going up or whatever. Just like a scientific diagram would be really good. Take one Exerol capsule once a day, 1.5 to 2 months. In other words, this remedy addresses the exact cause of the problem. Once a day for 1 to 2 months. You won't need any further stimulation. So this is really good actually, that they kind of highlighted it so people can see this specific wording. It's important to see this. Take one Exerol capsule once a day, 1.5 to 2 months. So this is really, it just makes it easy to understand how to use it, because people want to know, you know, how often am I going to take this pill, or what effects will this have on me? So I would probably talk here somewhere about the effects that this pill has, side effects if it has any, and I would kind of highlight it. And I would highlight how exactly this prevents this problem right here, because this looks really interesting. Like, if someone thinks this is what mine looks like, they'll just be like, they'll have the urge to fix it, right? There's this one story, I mentioned it before. It was this guy who was a smoker, and then he saw images of what a smoker lungs looks like versus a regular person, and then he stopped smoking. Sometimes it just visually you need to show how it works and exactly what's going on, and this is a really good little diagram here. Very simple, very easy to understand. And I would include a bit more here, and I would include studies just to back this up. You can literally just put a simple graph that you make that like shows age, and then that it's declining. Your erectile whatever is declining over age, but then when you take Exerol, you know, majority of people experience that it works for them, right? Enter draw. Wait, what is this? How to get XROL with a 50% discount, being a Spanish citizen. Personal use only. Okay, this is enter the producer's giveaway. Ooh. This is really interesting. They have you don't really see this with an advertorial. They got this little giveaway thing. November and December, the temperature changes contribute to a faster metabolism. They could literally just change this to December and January, and then change it to January and February. It's really good, actually. Enter the draw and guess which 50% off your XROL purchase. Okay, so this is actually a really good advertorial, especially for older folks. But I don't know what this draw thing is. And then they have these comments, but it's like an image here. It's kind of hard to read. Okay, and then they got XROL here. They got a simple page that, I mean, even a page like this can actually convert. Like, just a simple page. It could definitely be better, but for a product like this, that's kind of like, it's like a low-key product, not really like a really branded product that you want to have like a full-on brand. Like, this kind of product is perfect for selling. Like, let's say you have an advertorial, like you actually sell people on it, but it's not really the type of, like, let's say you're selling coffee, right? You have like a supplement brand that that has like a full brand behind it and everything. This is kind of the product that you just sell it. Like, most of your store is just selling, right? Like, you have advertorials, you have your ads, whatever, and then people will buy it if it has a solution, but definitely could be better. But really, at the end of the day, what's important is that you have an image of the product. These guys, they could do better with it, but you have the image of the product, and then you can actually order the product. Boom. Very simple. You don't need to overcomplicate it. But this advertorial is actually pretty darn good. They got these little ads here that kind of make it look like an actual article website. But these like diagrams are really good. I would add more, of course. I'd add more images potentially of people who've experienced it. Like, I would literally just have images of, like, let's say 5 older guys, and then they have the little pill in their hand, and then they're like, there's like a little testimonial for it. That would do really well, just for some extra trust. And I would probably include a little bit about other options other than pills. So you can just talk about it vaguely and shortly, but you could say, like, I don't know, if people go to clinics for this, for erection products, or I guess they're talking about erection products, so they don't really have to. They're talking about the pills. I would definitely make it easier to visualize this. They're giving like a mini listicle page here. Like, you can literally have a whole listicle page of Viagra versus their product, which is Exerol, right? Viagra versus Exerol. And then you can have Udenafil versus Exerol. You can really make these into entire pages, but for this page is going over all the alternatives. I would make it a bit less text focused and more like a chart here that would just show all the options, like the first option, second option, third option, whatever, and then boom, it's just easy to visualize, see, oh, these options are not actually that good on paper, right? So you can help them visualize that and see it for themselves, so it's easy for them to just go with the purchase, right? That your box checks all the solutions and that's actually believable. And something that these guys did well as well is they highlighted words in red. So this is really text focused. It reminds me of like older advertorial pages or article pages from like 2010 that are just a lot of text, which sometimes can actually perform really well, right? you're not selling the format of the advertorial, you're selling the copy and, believability and everything. So this is actually a really good page. It could definitely improve and make it a bit less text focused. They did break a bit of the text with these little boxes and the scroll fatigue, but it could definitely improve a bit. But yeah, I mean, when you're making your advertorials, you can use this as kind of reference where you don't have to have a typical formatting for your advertorial. Like, you don't need a full-on story, okay? You can literally come up with us versus them angle. You can come up with how to choose a product that lasts longer or better, right? Obviously, there's advertorials, there's listicles. You don't have to follow the typical standard format, right? Sometimes these pages do really, really well. And for one of my clients, he's running a hair loss brand. And the best page that we've tested was an us versus them page. Okay, it was talking about an alternative versus their product. And sometimes, you just got to test and see what kind of angles are working really well and what's not, because the story advertorial didn't really perform that well for him. But anyways, if you're running a brand and you need an advertorial, feel free to message me on X. My link is in the description. You can just click it, message me, and I can help you with an advertorial.